I just think for such a special memento, especially if a diamond's being given as an engagement ring, I think having a story behind it and actually being able to tell the good that diamond did, which I think I think the industry's greatly lost on that
Especially
narrative.
a place like Botswana, right?
Right, and I've been there, and I wish everybody in the trade could go see it and see the level of development, right? I mean, highly educated population. I mean, young and just
used to be the lowest GDP, now the highest in all of Africa.
Yeah, I mean, they have public healthcare, public education. I think it's lowest in corruption. So I mean, there's a lot of good that came from diamonds, and again, I think there's this huge opportunity for the industry to continue to sell that story. I think we know it because we see it and we know these people, but I think for consumers that are busy with their daily lives and their careers and their families, they don't really have time to kind of delve in and pay attention to these nuances that we do. So I think there's definitely an opportunity to tell that story better, and I think traceability is kind of the way to do that, and kind of leveraging the technology that's available now is going to really be able to enforce that, where you say you buy a diamond, there's a QR code and you scan the code on your phone and it tells you all the information of where the diamond came from, and providing this detailed information that you have. I think people like stories and they want to tell their friends the story of their diamond. And if we're in an age where natural diamonds are competing with lab-grown diamonds now, that's something that lab-grown diamonds can't really offer, is that story. So I think there's a lot on the table here, and I think the industry is at a point now where it's kind of really come together, and I think really agrees that this is the direction to go. And it doesn't mean that consumers are going to pay a huge premium for it, but I think consumers are going to start to demand it.
Let's talk about gold.
Right.
Did you ever expect in all your years in this industry that gold would hit such high prices?
My background actually is as a metals and mining analyst, and the portfolio manager that I worked for was a geologist, and he always thought gold was going to go to the moon. He was like a proverbial gold bug. He used to sing songs about gold during the day. So I'm not shocked, but I think this is the real move, right? I mean, I think gold historically has kept up with inflation. And that's kind of what it's meant to do. I mean, I think as a fundamental investor, gold doesn't pay a cash flow. You basically have to pay somebody to store it for you and protect it. So it's like different from owning a stock where a company actually generates money and generates earnings and pays dividends. So the fundamentals are completely different. I would say it's more of like a store value from an investment standpoint. And I think we're in a market right now, a global market where central banks are buying gold, and private investors are buying gold, and hedge funds are buying gold, and there's a lot of uncertainty. I think there's uncertainty, with the U.S. dollar right now. If we're being completely honest, the dollar's been the weakest it's been over the last 6 months and probably 10, 15 years. So there's a lot of things going on that are basically incentivizing people to buy gold, and it's very speculative. It's very technically driven. People look at the chart, the chart of gold, and they'll trade based on that. So kind of everything's kind of coming together. That's kind of led to this bullish move in gold. And the one thing with gold and some commodities, they could get really crazy. Like, I don't think 5,000 gold is out of the question. I'm not predicting that or recommending anybody buy gold for that reason, but that wouldn't shock me either. And usually when you see like a big movement of commodity, a lot of times it kind of ends in kind of this parabolic move, and then you kind of get a crash or a correction after. So I think all that's on the table. I mean, it's interesting for the jewelry industry. I mean, a lot of the jewelry trade, will hedge against the gold price to protect their inventory. So that kind of creates, complications sometimes. You'll see that with like the Asian jewelers in particular, because they carry so much high purity gold. From an analyst standpoint, it's kind of fun to watch.
And it goes to your whole thing about sort of the art and science of the business. Like, people are just still crazy for gold, despite the price.
Precious metals and precious gemstones, it resonates with humans in a way that's kind of difficult to explain sometimes in a practical way. It's kind of hardwired in us, and I still want gold. I mean, I think the whole thing with gold these days, it's like competing with Bitcoin, for store of value. If Bitcoin doesn't get regulated, like, who knows what's going to happen with that? Maybe there's a lot higher upside, there, and that's going to continue to maybe take, some money out of gold that otherwise would be put into gold. But I mean, gold, what are we, $3,500 an ounce? I mean, with Bitcoin at all-time highs too. I mean, I don't think a lot of people were predicting that. But again, I think it's just kind of a proxy for what's going on in the geopolitical landscape right now, and it could get weirder.